This is stolen fair and square from the Lean Enterprise Institute. And I think that the graphic on the right in terms of what you traditionally saw in terms of management was to set goals and tell people just to go do it. And what you have when you're pursuing a Lean initiative is really the leader working with the team to help pull them up the hill, to lead them, literally to lead them up the hill. And so this is really an exercise. When Greg talks about me being a practitioner, I'm a practitioner that doesn't sit in the office. I'm a practitioner even at the level of a VP that spends a lot of time in the field. And this is going to be a story of how we began an experiment on using the idea of kata to improve our safety performance. So are there any martial artists in the crowd? So what is a kata? It's a form. So what you see up there are women doing a team kata. And a team kata is a set of movements that you do in a certain sequence in order to learn and create muscle memory, to create habits around those movements, so that if you were in a position where you actually were in combat, those same movements would become natural in response to the condition that you were actually approached with. So there's a book that was written a couple of years ago that's called Toyota Kata. And the idea behind the book is that what really makes Toyota different from other Lean practitioners is that they've really unlocked the power of certain routines. And the book talks in terms of an improvement kata and a coaching kata. So improvement kata is actually how we improve the work, and the coaching kata is how we make sure that we're building people who can solve problems and improve the work. So there really are some very basic steps. I want to go over first the basic concept of what Toyota Kata teaches us, and then talk about how we've applied them as an experiment to the safety conditions that exist on our site. And I'll really focus in on one particular area to use as the example. So the first step in really establishing a kata to really pursue improvement is to establish the vision. And so if you have the practitioner standing at the bottom of the hill, that practitioner and the leadership really have to identify what is the goal, what is the vision, where is it overall that we're trying to get. And one of the challenges is that if you set the goal as reaching the pinnacle, reaching the peak, then to the practitioner, does that look achievable or overwhelming? Well, for most of us, when we get something set like that that's that ambitious, we really don't even know where to start. So the idea behind a kata is to really break it down to build capability. And so even though you know you're trying to get to the peak, what we really need to do is to break that down into measurable steps. We don't know exactly what the path is going to be as we move, but we know which direction we're headed in, and we can establish this kata, this routine, to consistently climb the stairs. So let's talk about what the steps are as we move into the kata itself. So the first step is identifying what is the current condition. And you can see that the flag bearer is the practitioner, and the other stick figure is the coach. And this is a conversation that occurs between the practitioner and the coach. So you first are looking to have the person identify what is the current condition. Describe what you see. The next step is to really just figure out what's the next target condition. So if we want to get to the top of the hill, and we're currently here, just where's that next level step that we want to step on? Where's the next foothold as we climb up the mountain to put your foot and be safe? Knowing where we are and knowing just that next step we want to take, now we're able to identify what are the obstacles, what stands in our way from moving from where we are just up to that next step. And then what are our countermeasures or our action plan in order to move from where we are to where we want to be next, so that we can navigate those obstacles. And then it's always refreshed by the coach and the practitioner going to see in the field, going to see where the work is done, because that's really the place where we do our learning, is where the work is actually done. We don't base it simply on the practitioner going out and trying and then us just getting, as the coaches, getting feedback on what the outcomes were. We really want to see it in action. So really it's a fairly simple concept. It's an application of the PDCA concept, but it's just breaking things down into little steps rather than trying to come up with a big improvement program. And so this is the form that we've developed and we use with our teams. This happens to be one that doesn't deal with safety. This is one that deals with our planning system. And what goes in the gray box is the vision. It's where we're trying, ultimately, what's the pinnacle? Where are we trying to get? And then each week, the team goes through the kata of identifying what's the current condition, what's the next target condition. In the planning system, we say the cycle time is a week. So where do we want to be by the end of the next week in terms of our capability? The team then goes through with the leadership of the coach and identifies what are the obstacles. And then they come up with a set of action steps or countermeasures that they're going to try this week to see if those steps will help them overcome the obstacles and produce the next target condition. And so we have one of these reports that, again, goes week by week, and they capture it as they go so that they've captured the learning. They've seen where they've been able to achieve their goals, and they've also seen where the variance has been. So vision, current condition, next target condition, and again, this is something that the coach is involved in helping them set so they don't get overly ambitious. The obstacles and the actions and countermeasures. And really looking at it, this is one of the graphics from the book, looking at it in a linear fashion. You first establish the vision, you then come all the way back to figure out what's the current condition. You then figure out where do I want to get next, and then you study the middle. You study what are the obstacles that we need to overcome to get to that next target condition. So it really is building learning while you're also solving problems.